Climate change affects the nature of the disease. In 2022, the Ministry of Health published a report on several diseases affected by climate change in Indonesia. The first one is the effect of climate change on mosquito-borne diseases. Indonesia is a tropical country that is prone to climate change. Climatic factors cause changes in the nature of diseases transmitted through disease-carrying animals such as mosquitoes, namely malaria and dengue fever. In 2019, 9 out of 100 people contracted malaria. Meanwhile, 4 out of 1,000 people were infected with dengue fever in 2020, with a mortality rate of 0.7%. The absolute number of malaria cases continues to increase from year to year from 2015 to 2020. The infections of the population with malaria are relatively constant, except in 2017. The highest cases occurred in the eastern part of Indonesia, especially in Papua. This situation shows that malaria transmission remains high in that area. Environmental changes influence the number of cases. Both climatic and non-climatic factors play a role in transmission in endemic areas. Pregnant women have twice the risk of suffering from malaria due to changes in the body during pregnancy. Malaria can increase the risk of abortion, premature birth and low birth weight babies. Tertian malaria causes anemia in pregnant women and risks premature birth. During 2004-2006, 16.8% of mothers giving birth were infected with malaria. According to calculations in 2019, every year an average of 27,468 pregnant women contract malaria. This figure continues to decline. Improved health services have played a major role in this decline. However, health services in eastern Indonesia have not improved evenly and malaria incidents in places like Papua are still common. Climate change and diseases carried by mosquitoes. The second one is dengue hemorrhagic fever, or DHF. The pattern of dengue fever transmission in each region in Indonesia is different. The number of cases and the incidence of new cases decreased significantly from 2007 to 2020, although they fluctuated. The death rate also showed a decline from 1.01% in 2007 to 0.69% in 2020. A report by Ryan et al. In 2019 showed that 9 out of 1,000 pregnant women were affected by dengue fever. It is estimated that the number of cases will continue to decline until 2030, but the impact of climate change and other factors may change over time. Climate change and airborne diseases. Third, airborne diseases. Pneumonia or pneumonia is one of the main causes of death among children worldwide. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimates that in 2017, 15% of deaths of children under 5 were caused by pneumonia. In Indonesia, pneumonia in children under 5 increased from 1.6% in 2003 to 2% in 2018. From 2015 to 2018, the number increased by around 500,000 cases every year. Pneumonia is influenced by climate factors, air pollution, socioeconomic conditions, and the vulnerability of children themselves, such as those born with low birth weight. Pneumonia is also influenced by air temperature and humidity. Humidity at levels of 40 to 80% increases the risk of pneumonia. Increasing temperatures increase evaporation and pollutants, substances that cause pollution formed from materials in the house which are then inhaled when breathing. Upper respiratory tract infections are another more common respiratory illness. More cases of this disease are found in women due to exposure to smoke from fuel used for cooking. Forest and peatland fires in Kalimantan and Sumatra have put nearly 10 million children at risk from air pollution. It is estimated that more than 2.4 million children under 5 living in forest and land fire areas suffer from the effects of smoke haze from forest fires. Air pollution affects babies' health even before they are born. Many studies show that babies born to mothers exposed to high levels of pollution during pregnancy are more likely to experience reduced growth in the womb, low birth weight, and be born prematurely. While forest and peatland fires often occur during the dry season, the situation will become worse due to other causes, including prolonged drought. The Indonesian forest fires in 1997 were linked to 15,600 child, infant and fetal deaths. Babies conceived by mothers affected by forest fires are at great risk of reduced birth weight and premature birth. Another disease affected by climate change is tuberculosis. Indonesia is the third country with the highest TB cases in the world after China and India. In 2020, it was recorded that 2.66 people out of every 1,000 residents suffered from TB. The 2021 TB program report states that in 2020 9% of TB sufferers will be aged 1 to 4 years. Nutritional status, socioeconomic status of the family, and completeness of immunization are factors in the occurrence of TB transmission. Generally, TB infection occurs more often in men than women. In men, the highest cases are in the 45 to 54-year age group. Meanwhile, the majority of women who suffer from TB are of childbearing age, 15 to 24 years. The incidence of TB in pregnant women was 71 per 100,000 in 2019. TB among pregnant women in countries with high TB cases ranges from 0.07% to 0.5%. During pregnancy, there is a decrease in immunity, which increases the possibility of transmitting TB to pregnant women. During pregnancy, TB can be transmitted to the fetus via the lymphatic route, hematogenous route, or directly. Nowadays, TB testing is carried out at premarital health checks. Untreated TB can increase morbidity in newborn babies and also cause low birth weight, premature birth, birth defects, and other pregnancy complications. TB can also cause miscarriage and postpartum bleeding, as well as high blood pressure or preeclampsia. TB cases from 2017 to 2020 continued to increase because climate change continued. If there were no climate change factors, it is estimated that TB disease would decrease. With continued climate change and improved health services, climate may become a bigger factor in TB incidence in the future. Effect of climate change on waterborne diseases. Fourth, diseases transmitted through water. Diarrhea, apart from the Escherichia coli germ, is caused by rotavirus, which causes 40% of all diarrhea cases treated in hospitals. Rotavirus is more common in tropical and subtropical areas. This virus also accounts for 60% of diarrhea sufferers who experience dehydration or lack of body fluids. When climate change occurs, diarrhea may increase. Transmission of diarrhea is through the transmission of human feces to the mouth and contaminated food. During floods, this disease spreads along with the flow of water, whereas during drought, the concentration of germs in water sources increases, causing the potential for disease. Stagnant water due to rain and polluted water sources are also causes of increased diarrhea. Who describes diarrhea as the most common cause of death among children. Although dangerous for the child's health, diarrhea is rarely reported to have a bad influence on pregnancy. However, the incidence of diarrhea has increased the burden on mothers due to caring for sick children and increased family health expenditure. Climate change and nutrition. Fifth, the influence of climate change on nutrition. Ministry of Health data illustrates the impact of climate change on children's nutrition. Basic Health Research in 2017 found that chronic energy deficiency in pregnant women was 17.3%. The number of children experiencing stunting as a measure of nutritional status among children under 5 is 24.4% in 2021. The uncertain climate causes crop failure, which results in reduced production so that food consumption, including for children, also decreases. Areas with an average temperature above 26 degrees Celsius, areas with high humidity and areas with low rainfall tend to have higher rates of malnutrition among children. Climate change can directly increase maternal malnutrition. Erratic seasons and changes in environmental temperature affect food production and food security. People who live from agriculture face greater challenges to maintain their food security. This impact is even more difficult in areas that already experience chronic malnutrition. Crop failure has also reduced income, resulting in the inability of families to provide sufficient and nutritious food. In Indonesia, estimated losses in the agricultural sector from 2020 to 2024 will reach $5.2 billion United States dollars. This is a significant impact for the agricultural sector that could affect a large number of the population. Lack of supply and quality of food will affect the health of pregnant women and the condition of their pregnancy. A decrease in food consumption and lower food quality will interfere with pregnancy, breastfeeding quality, and child development. It is clear that climate change is affecting the growth and development of new generations. Monitoring the impact of climate change on maternal health is very important as a measure to achieve climate change adaptation.